Hello, it's Matt from GAK here in Brighton, and I'm here with Paul from Line 6, and we're looking at the new AMPLIFi FX100 from Line 6. This is the new floor-based multi-effects with an iOS device, which is similar to the amps. So my first question is really, what's the kind of main difference, obviously apart from the amplifier part, between sort of this and the AMPLIFi amps, and is there kind of a reason you might go for one or the other? Are there any sort of main differences between the two?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it's a floor mount multi-effects processor. It has all the same sort of functionality as the amplifier as well, obviously, but it's missing those kind of 5 speakers. So this kind of thing is the sort of thing you're going to kind of use, you're going to take out, you're going to gig. You could also use it in the home as well. So we've got 3 different outputs on there. So if you wanted to use it just in the home like the current amplifier, you could take the left and right, and you can actually plug that into your home hi-fi system, and then you could take the guitar output and actually run that into your current guitar amplifier as well. So it's a very, very quick and easy way of getting a great sound.
I mean, that's what we're doing now. So everything you're hearing sort of audio-wise, we're actually going through the main left and right into like a hard disk recorder, and then we just get a microphone straight in, and then we've got the kind of the headphones out going into the DT25. So I mean, it's nice and versatile for that, and obviously you've got the Bluetooth on the back, amp out and headphones out as well, which is really nice. And then everything is, I suppose, if you're using it at home, just so you know, we're running it on a little iClip here for iPad. So if you're using it at home as a floor controller, you can just have kind of your controller and the app and everything in front of you as well. So is there any difference in the app? Is the app the same? Is there
the app will function in exactly the same way, but like I say, what the advantage of this is, everything's all in one box there, so you can take that straight out to the gig, into a PA system or at home. So all of the features, again, like we had, your iTunes library, it'll stream that, so it's connected via Bluetooth. That's going to come out through your home hi-fi system now.
So you can actually stream audio still from your iPad through this straight into your home hi-fi. So I think as you were saying earlier, you can actually stream audio, go out of the outputs on here into a hi-fi, but then still go out into an amp and then play along with proper guitar sounds as well. So it's the first time, because we get asked that a lot actually. People are like, oh, how can I don't have an amp, how can I play through my hi-fi? And obviously plugging your guitar direct into a hi-fi is not really the best thing to do. It doesn't really sound great, but this actually allows you to kind of do it properly and actually sound good as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, anybody who's familiar with AMPLIFi will see that it's kind of the same controls on there. So in a live situation, you can still dial in all your familiar kind of amp controls there. You also have 100 presets straight out of the box, and you've got easy access to them with A, B, C, D. You can also bank up and bank down through those, so that's how you actually access the full sort of 100 presets. Tap tempo, you've got volume wah on there as well, so it's just a great sound and very, very quick way of getting the tone that you want very quickly and easily, and for a great price.
Yeah, so I suppose the main thing we should say is really that all of it's controlled via the app in a sense. All your tones, all your editing, everything you can create comes within this. So I think this has just been updated now, so like you say, you've got 100 presets which you can scroll through on here.
Yeah. And the great thing about these presets is, like, what a lot of companies tend to do, and Line 6 certainly have been guilty of this, is creating presets where there's just chaos and, there's something coming out of the left speaker that doesn't make any sense. And unless you know what the actual programmer was thinking when he designed that sort of patch, you're not going to get a great sound. So we've actually got a whole collection of very, very usable sounds in there for country bands, for rock bands. So you can very, very quickly dial in that tone you want in the home or in a recording situation or in a live environment as well.
Yeah, I mean, just scrolling through this earlier when we first got it, I mean, actually, most of those, even if you're not massively into pop music, you can probably name, I would say, a good 80 or 90% of most of the ones on there, and all the other ones on there are kind of popular amps, Fender amps and whatnot on there.
Yeah. It's laid out for like a rock band, so you might have a rock sort of clean sound, a rock crunch sound, a rock lead sound, and maybe something with a bit extra effects on there as well. So yeah, I mean, we can just maybe go have a look through some of those.
Yeah, why don't we go through some of the sounds? Because also what I quite like to talk about is obviously the option that I really like is that you can kind of search through all the tones that other people have uploaded. So if you kind of just want to think of an artist, Van Halen or Prince or something like that, you can literally just search it and then browse through everyone else's uploaded tones and pick your favourite as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what Line 6 kind of realised was that people don't talk about tones in terms of, sound number 1A or sound number 1B. They talk about things in terms of, a Vi tone or, a Prince tone or a Keith Richards tone, something like that. So, as well as having these 100 tones here, what we can also do by going to the settings, we have the tone search app, so let's go straight and do that. And what's great for this is if you're not particularly knowledgeable about how to create tones, let's use Prince as an example. Let's say you want to play the guitar and you want it to sound a bit like Prince or the Purple Rain sound. Yeah. You may not have the knowledge at this stage to actually know that it's a clean sound. You might with a lot of chorus on there. So you might end up scrolling through somebody else's presets trying to find something like chorus clean, and then you've got to play it and you've got to see if it's going to work for you. Whereas on here, I can very quickly kind of dial this in. So, well, I would be very quickly dial it in if I could see it probably if I was good at typing. So let's go for here. So what this is going to do now, it's actually going to search the Line 6 tone cloud through the Wi-Fi in the store, and it's going to give me a big collection of tones that other users or Line 6 have actually created there as well. So it kind of gives us an infinite number of presets. So let's say, these are the ones that it's turned up with straight away.
Quite a lot of Purple Rain, obviously, I think was made.
Yeah, and not all of them by me. In fact, I haven't done any sounds for this at all. So let's say I want to go for this one here. And I'm straight in. So I'm very, very, very quickly able to get that tone. And it's like the Line 6 have always wanted to do is that they're kind of creating solutions where you can get to the important stuff like playing and actually, and that's across the whole range of Line 6 products.
Yeah, there's no, like other kind of brands, multi-effects, there's no scrolling through A, B, C, D, E, all the way through hundreds and hundreds of sounds until you find something that might closely represent that. You can literally almost search for an artist or search for a band and more than likely, and over time as well, as more people upload more tones, that there should be more on there. And
yeah, absolutely, that library's grown all the way.
And obviously things are getting pretty good ratings as well, so obviously the better ones are going to get to the top. So in theory, there should be no bad sounds. If you always selecting things that are 4 or 5 stars, you should always get something that's half decent.
Yeah, what you're seeing there, and the rating thing's interesting that you should bring it up. So what you're seeing there is the people can favourite their tones or rate them, so we can see straight away, like you say, what tones are good and which tones may not be. So the next example you mentioned there was sort of Keith Richards. So let's have a look through here and.
We've got Satisfaction, original 1965. I like the way that person's labelled that there.
That's very precise.
Yeah.
So kind of you're in there fairly quickly, getting an idea of those tones.
Yeah, it's nice that you can just. Yeah, it's nice that you can just kind of just go straight in and away you go, really. And then, as you were saying, so if we kind of, I don't know, we took one, you can then pretty much dissect that tone as well. So you can then go into the editor and then basically see what someone's programmed in and then change it around and upload it and change it.
Yeah. So let's say you particularly like that tone. We can go in there and we can actually start to look at that tone, and this is where you can start to edit your own tones and publish your own tones, same as you do with AMPLIFi, where you can become a kind of, and people can search for your name for tones, or they can search for my name or your name for tones, so if somebody's particularly good at it, I might always hunt out their tones and use those for different things. But so right now, let's say I didn't want the 58 tweed basement. Let's say I wanted to choose one of the sort of the 70 different amps on here. So let's say we're going to the British sounds. Let's see, I've got something like an orange. Okay.
It's such a nice and intuitive layer, because rather than just, obviously they can't call them by the amps if they're actual names. So it's so nice that you've got kind of this really good visual representation, because people would know it more probably visually than they might necessarily know the name of that particular amp. You might not know a particular tweed amp is like a Bassman or anything like that. So it's nice that you can kind of scroll through, and it's big and it's easy to read, and it's so. I just found it so easy to edit. That was the nice thing.
Yeah, it really is. It's a pleasure to do that. Yeah. So of all those 70 amplifiers, we are just literally clicking on them. Let's go back to that. If I want to enter that amplifier there and sort of dial in the tone on that, so maybe I want to add a bit more presence, a bit more bass. Maybe I want to change the cabinet on there. So I've got 70 different amps. I've got all different cabinets there as well. And again, it's just so intuitive. So now I've got that sort of Citrus D30 through a 4x12 with British 75 speakers in there. But let's say I want to sort of wet that sound up a little bit and add a bit of reverb. And just go along the top here, switch on the reverb, and choose from any of the effects in there. So let's just.
There's a lot. When I was scrolling through it, there's a lot of reverbs. In fact, I don't know if they've added some since I last updated the app, but it looks like there's some more in there. But it might just be me.
Yeah. So now I've got some reverb, and I like this really nice sort of slide. Rather than trying to physically turn something that looks like a pot, you're actually kind of you're just doing it with a slider, which makes it so intuitive on an iPad or an iPhone.
And obviously the percentage as well, so it's so nice. And the effects chain at the top, just actually see what order everything is going in. It just makes it so nice and easy to use, really.
Yeah.
And obviously being able to, we're actually running delay and reverb at the moment after the amp, so you can run it before, so you can actually switch around the audio effects as well, which is really, really nice.
Which is just as easy as touching your finger on there and dragging it over. You're not changing cables or pulling, looking for new batteries or anything like that. It's very, 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 very quick. So there's the tone so far. Let's say I wanted to add. Well, let's say we want to drag. Well, let's just add the modulation on there actually. So. Go into here, I could decide to add something like a tremolo there. So in the modulations.
So these are all your stomp boxes in a sense, basically.
Yeah, and you've got there's 100 of those. Yeah. So very, very just so quick and so easy to get great.
Yeah.
To get us great sounds.
Yeah, it's so nice, because what I found is that I was going to artists that I kind of wanted to do a tone, and then basically going in that and then just basically changing it all, and then before I know it, within 5 minutes I've got something totally different. But that's the nice thing about it, because I think there's so many times that you might listen to a particular artist and go, I really like that sound, but you don't always want to sound like that in a sense. You want to have something similar, but you want to be able to kind of create your own.
Just use that as a basis for getting started, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And then once you've done that, once you've dialed in that tone, I can then go on to save that tone, enter my name and stuff in there, and I can even choose, like, put in information like what kind of pickup was being used, whether it's a single coil, whether it's a humbucker. And now with the new app that just came out sort of 2 days ago, I can actually either save that tone now to the iPad. I can save it directly to overwrite one of the 100 presets in here. I can save it to the tone cloud, and I can also now directly tweet that tone straight to Twitter as well.
That's amazing, because if people start following you for your particular tones, I know that we were going to try and do a load here. It's like kind of GAC sounds and stuff like that. It's just nice that we can just sit down, if we're just demoing something for a customer, we can just do it and tweet it out. It's just absolutely. Social media is just so big for that sort of thing now. It's nice to be able to do it. But the thing that as well as all that is, I suppose it's nice as well, because if you're using it in a gig situation, you can program in your 100, and you don't necessarily have to have that connected. Is that right? No. You can literally just use the floorboard, and away you go.
Yeah, it's a multi-effects processor, like we said at the start there. It's a floorboard multi-effects with all the features that we saw before, all those different amps, and it's not the iPad, it's not the phone doing the processing. This is just acting as the controller. So the actual brains and the processing is actually done inside the unit. So yeah, you could take that to a gig, and you can do your. You could edit those sounds to a degree on the top there, so you can change the EQ for different venues or different rooms and things. And you can also, you've got an effects control in here, so you can actually assign that to control any parameter that you want. So if you wanted, in that particular sound, you wanted that to speed up the tremolo or slow the tremolo down, or turn up the mix of the tremolo, you'd assign that using the iPad, and then when you go to the gig, you've got control of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Well, I'd say just to finish off, maybe we should just go through a couple of other sounds. Let's have let's go through some extreme. Maybe we'll go through a few of the presets and yeah, go from there. So one of the things that we haven't talked about yet is using iTunes. So run us through how your music actually comes into the app and how it comes into play with the AMPLIFi and all the software.
Yeah, well, this gives you the ability to kind of jam along with your own tracks and everything at home, like we said before. And then, as you saw before, we kind of dialed in and searched for an artist's particular tone. But what you can also do is it'll actually do that automatically for you. So if I was to go through here and maybe choose a track that's in my iTunes library, what you'll actually see is it's actually loaded the song there, and then it's actually gone online again through the Wi-Fi, and it's actually downloaded a bunch of different tones that might be applicable to that song. So it's looking for the same sort of thing as the amplifiers, and what it's actually done there is it's looking for things like Paul Gilbert, it's looking for whatever the name of that track is, that kind of thing. So it'll do all that automatically without you having to type in the name of the artist as well. So there's two ways of approaching getting your favourite artist's tones.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think a lot of other companies will tend to do something where you'll go through a multi-effects and all the presets will be like really, really heavy metal, and you'll find like two clean sounds. But this, in effect, that no matter what music you're into, if it's on your iTunes, you can have the multi-effects sound like that, because effectively, if your iTunes is full of country music, then all you'll get when searching through that is country tones.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna get that kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely. So no, it's just a quick, very, very quick, easy way of getting the tones that you want and not the tones that you don't want, you know. And if you've got particular bits of music may not have the tones created yet, you know, but you can go on there and you can create them, you know, and publish those with your name and become that, you know, anybody around the world will be able to share your tones when you're doing, you know, and view your tones on Twitter.
So yeah, that's what I really liked about it, is the fact that there's no latency or anything like that. It's just what you see is what you get. As soon as you move it, it's there, it's changed. It's easy to just dial in anything, tap away, and yeah, I can certainly see now with stuff like this Line 6, like the AMPLIFi leading the way, that I think you're going to see a lot more people with iPads on stage and doing a lot of controllers in real time, because it does work. It's not a gimmick. It really does work, and it really does work well. Yeah,
if you're really into tweaking effects, then this is a great way of doing it on the fly as well. You know, getting some really out there sort of sounds whilst playing, and dialing those tones.
Yeah, and I think as well, you know, someone like me who might have like a massive pedal board and running a stereo setup, actually still having something like this is really fun, because you you've always got your phone on you. Generally, if you're using an iOS device, you've probably got it in your pocket, so it's easy enough if you just pick up guitar and even just put headphones into this and away you go.
Yeah. Well, if you're anything like me, your phone's actually probably sitting on top of your amplifier as you're doing Facebook things and wasting your life on it anyway.
Yeah.
It's nice to actually use it for something productive and creative.
Yeah. Well, Well, thanks very much. AMPLIFIs are available now, along with the new AMPLIFi FX100. Just give us a call in store, and we'll see you soon.